Okay, being 7 o'clock, I'm gonna bring the Dunbarton October 1st, 2020 Board of Selectmen meeting to order. All three selectmen are present, we have a full board here tonight, the town administrator. And Leo Martell is recording the meeting for the benefits of the citizens of the town and the public. And Lyndon Nickerson is gonna upload it to the YouTube and the Dunbarton website. And the town clerk just entered the meeting as well. Okay, I have some old business, which is the meeting minutes from September 17th. Somebody make a motion on those meeting minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the regular minutes of September 17th as amended.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, that was a slow one, guys.
Well, no discussion, I was gonna comment that they were well done this week.
Okay,
So, Jen, if you're listening on tape, well done.
okay, meeting minutes been done. I'm gonna bring it to a quick public comment. Anybody get anything from the public?
Nope.
Nothing, okay, that was done with. Okay, town business. We look to, we need an alternate for the cemetery trustee committee, Linda Gray, an appointment. Mike, you wanna take a look at that? Make sure to read the heading, Mike, on it.
Read the heading. Okay?
What's that one say, is that the trustee?
That's, this is nothing, this is not the appointment papers.
Here it is,
Thank you.
that's what I was telling you, to read the heading on it, I was wondering what that one was.
Okay, want me to make a motion on this one, Dave?
Yeah.
Okay. Whereas there's a vacancy in the position of the alternate cemetery trustee, we'd like to make a motion to appoint Linda Gray as an alternate cemetery trustee for the town of Dunbarton.
I'll give you a second.
Okay, motion been made, second, all in favor?
Aye.
No discussion, I just was wondering who she was.
Linda Gray. I don't know,
Is that a gray area for you or what?
Gray area, oh,
I've met her once or twice
Yeah.
before. She has been volunteering with the ladies during the day who are categorizing the cemetery maps.
Okay,
And she is actually data entering the names to work with the maps, so she's been a good,
okay, so it's a good fit for,
yeah.
okay. I'm just curious, cause I don't
Yeah,
know who it is.
yeah, she lives in town here.
and it was recommended by the chair?
Yeah.
Okay,
And it's an alternate too.
Yeah, well, I know it, but.
I'm glad to see
Now you
some
can,
alternates on there.
take your vote.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay,
The next one is, there's a warrant for the general election.
yep, looks like it here. So this is state of New Hampshire. I guess there's one for all of us, or we have to sign 3 copies? Linda?
Sign 3 copies, please.
Okay. I'll let you guys each have a copy so you can read it. To the inhabitants of the town of Dunbarton, County of Merrimack, New Hampshire. You are hereby notified Dunbarton Community Center on Tuesday, the 3rd day of November, 2020. The polls will be open from 7 AM to 7 PM. To act upon the following subjects, to bring in your votes for President and Vice President of the United States, Governor, United States Senator, United States Representative, Executive Council, State Senator, State Representatives, County Officers. Given under his hands and seals this 1st day of October in our year, our Lord, 2020. So that's the official notification of the election.
Linda, have we done this before? I just don't recall.
Yes, that's a standard.
Yeah, and I see it, I seen it in the old, meeting minutes from other years prior to.
Some of the warrants come from the Secretary of State. Some of the warrants are generated by the selectmen in the town, depending on the election.
Linda, since you're here, do you have anything else for us tonight?
Just a quick note, the absentee ballots, the bulk of them were mailed today. I don't have a full count yet, I've got some more requests, and I'd say close to 300 that we had put postage on. We've registered easily a dozen people this week, just new voter registration. And I've got a whole stack more of requests that need to be filled. Also wanted to extend kudos to Donna in the building department, who was an absolute godsend. She helped fold, and she doesn't handle ballots because she's not authorized, but she did help organize the packets to make it easier for Hope and I to assemble the rest with the ballots. She spent a lot of time putting postage on the envelopes. I just don't know what we would have done without her. She was a great help.
Okay,
So thanks for lending her.
and your absentee ballots so far?
I haven't been able to update since this morning because the requests keep coming in, but as of this morning, there were 401 requests.
Wow. It's already almost double.
No, we had about 250 last time, wasn't it?
I think it's
That's why I
270,
said
something
almost.
like that, yeah. There'll be a lot more for this one.
Yeah, that won't be bad. Okay, that's all you have for us?
That was it?
The next on the agenda, I think we'll skip over, I don't see Tom Fasano in the room here to speak about Halloween, so we'll wait till he comes in. And we'll review the DOT award bid for salt for 2020 through Granite State Minerals. They're coming in at $49.50 per ton, which I double checked and asked Lean to check that out, and she said it's the same amount we paid last year, correct?
For
The
Salt.
salt, yes, it is attached to the, this year's bid, and, the selectmen have a policy, whereas if it's a state awarded bid, we're allowed to piggyback on their, awarded bid and save the cost for noticing it and advertising it for open bid.
Okay, I'll make a motion, then we'll have a discussion on it. I'll make a motion to accept the bid from Granite State Minerals for the year of 2020 through 2021 for $49.50 per ton for bulk road salt.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded, can we have a discussion on it? Any problem with that?
I don't.
Keeping the rate the same, this is the third year now, so I think that's pretty good with
So,
COVID prices rising everywhere. Lean, it looks like a signature from me required here. Accepted by,
Top, and I'll fill out the address and scan it back to them.
okay. Well, if you wanna put that in the pile of real stuff, thanks. Okay, that's done. Let's look at our meeting schedule next. I think you guys have all had a packet with a draft. And what I'd like to do is suggest that we at least go through October doing every other week meetings. Only because I see that our budgets, hearings are getting down there. We have a pretty good idea, and with the COVID going on, I don't imagine any huge budgets to have large discussions. And all of us are getting pretty well seasoned in the budget process. I don't think we need to meet with all the department heads 3 times like we used to, so. I'd like to skip the 8th and the 22nd. And so we meet 3 times this month anyway. We're meeting the 1st, the 15th, and the 29th. Would you guys have a consensus for that?
I don't, how busy do we usually, don't we start getting busy crunching numbers though?
We'll
about this
start
stuff?
right after, at the first of the month, in November. Typically, the board will hold a, general, budget strategy meeting, might be the first week, and then that will get sent out to the departments, and then at that time, I'll be, submitting the meeting that are available and asking them to sign up for the different meetings, and, depending on what you guys propose for your strategy, would be what So technically, we would have 1, 2, 3 meetings in November, and then 1, 2, 3 meetings in December, unless we hold one New Year's Eve. We have been around in the past, depends on who's doing what and how you feel we're progressing with the budget.
Yeah, and I think that, you know, our budget process has gotten reduced pretty substantially. I remember last year, we did not
Nothing
reduce
contentious.
these,
Wasn't contentious.
and we had nothing contentious all the month of October, we had nothing on the agenda to speak of that was hard, large issues.
The only thing here is to try to accommodate, rainy, you know.
Yeah, but we should be able to do that when the voting is,
November
we're still gonna meet on the
29th.
29th.
And you get the 15th, early is better than, cause you got the 29th and the following week is, the 3rd. You may want, you know, I can understand having it the 29th, but you might wanna meet with us around the 15th, that gives a general idea of,
Right, cause so we have rainy either the 15th, the 29th, and the 5th before voting starts, so. Oh, no, voting is the 3rd, yeah.
the 3rd. But you, if you'd like to wait, no,
Yeah,
Do you want me to see if he's available the 15th?
Yeah, I think that, I agree with the 15th. I think a consensus, Dave.
yeah, he's generally. Okay, so we got consensus, we'll skip the 8th and the 22nd. Lean, and, we'll revise this. And I think with COVID going on, it makes good sense that we meet every other week anyway.
Well, I'd like to just point out that I think Lean, there's been 2 occasions where she had to contact us out of the normal schedule twice since we started, and it hasn't been problematic.
Hey, Tom.
But the thing is, we are getting to a season where it's gonna get busier, and
Right.
so we
Well, I
gotta,
think definitely in November, especially we have holidays in November and in December, so we have limited months on those 2 months anyway, so.
right, yeah, you lose a Thursday and.
But I think through October, I think we'll be okay, and that'll give us a little space. Okay, we're gonna go back now to the, Tom, we're gonna go back, we skipped over years and went to a couple other things, because you guys hadn't made it quite to the meeting yet. So I guess we'd like to discuss, Halloween, and, this is Tom Crisano from the Garden Club, and explain to us the hold a trunk or treat on Saturday, October 31st, between 5 and 7 PM. Tom, just to let you know, we've looked at some guidelines from the municipal association, as well as the guidelines from, what was it, like the
CDC.
state, CDC,
yeah,
on Halloween. And we've also done a little bit of checking on other towns around us having Halloween or not having Halloween, so we've done a little bit of homework on it.
Yep, I've seen that same information.
So if you could come up and ask, or explain to us, you can stay right there.
Okay. Yeah, let me kind of make the position clear that what we were initially looking for is guidance from the selectmen or the town as to where they could plan on doing Halloween or not doing Halloween. At our last, garden club meeting, we discussed it and we said, well, we need to get some input, you know, what is gonna happen. So I contacted Lean and said, you know, what's the plan? We're kind of in favor of doing something, but we don't know what's going on. So then she said, well, come to the selectmen's meeting and you know, let us know what you guys wanna do. So I haven't really contacted the membership since then, because I figured we'd come to the meeting, see what's going on. But we did some of that same information, we looked to see what other towns are doing, what their guidelines were. I got a copy that Lean sent me of the CDC guidelines. And perhaps what I said, when I said trunk or treating, was not the proper term, because I did a little more research as to what technically is trunk or treating.
I kinda noticed that through the COVID paperwork, that
Yeah,
it's
It's,
going into somebody's trunk to get candy out of it, so I kinda.
exactly.
That was a little sketchy.
So I guess what my wife calls it is a candy station, not trunk or treating. The difference being is in what I envision it could happen on the town commons, is if the town says, yeah, we wanna do something on commons, or no, we just wanna do something in neighborhoods, or we don't wanna do anything, we basically wanna see what the town's position was, is whatever we do has to be done, you know, with the utmost caution, and do it safely. And if those guidelines are followed, I think it could be done, you know, quite safely, but then everybody has to follow the guidelines, so it's back to, you know, everybody's gotta take responsibility. what we were thinking is something, of course, far scaled down from what we've done in the past. Essentially, we would have tables, about like the one Bob's sitting at, and set them up and place the candy on the table ahead of time. And the kids would come through and pick up that candy and put it in. We would suggest, of course, everybody wear a mask. We also would suggest that everybody wear gloves so that there's no contact of any kind. And we would set up like half the table, and when that starts to get down, you set up the other side. When that side's empty, you wipe it down, you know, with disinfecting wipes, load that side back up. So you don't even load the whole table at once. You do like half of it. When that gets do the other half, so that you're always keeping that disinfected, so that if people are putting their hands on the table, there's no, you know, transmission point. I think if it's done in that fashion and people come from, instead of doing it in neighborhoods, if they say, well, we don't want people coming up to our door, then they could come down and set up, just like we would do, a candy station, where they would bring their car, maybe decorate it up a little bit, or do some decorating on the table, place the candy down, have the masks, have the gloves, have the disinfecting wipes, and give out the candy in a fashion where there's no contact between the parties. The other option would be, you know, if people wanted to do it in the neighborhoods and the town supported it, or basically, you know, took no position, like the city of Concord is taking no position on it, except, you know, to be safe. Is if people did it from their house, the guideline could be put out to them to do it in this fashion. Don't put a bowl of candy out there where everybody reaches into it. Set the candy up on a table, spread it out, so when somebody comes, they pick it up, or they pick up two, or take alcohol, sweep up the whole table. Our neighborhood, we usually have somewhere between, now we have something between 3 and 5 people show up at the door. In the past, we would always come down here, and Karen would put a big bowl of candy out, and we'd come back and, you know, maybe part of it was gone, which was just fine with me. But I can't eat candy anymore, so now I wish they'd all take it. But I think it's just a matter of the proper practice. Now, if the town's position is we don't think people will follow the guidelines or do the proper practice and want to discourage the Halloween celebration in general, you know, we'll go along with that. At this point, the garden club and I think the general public is looking for, you know, what is the position? Are we gonna try to do something, or are we gonna try to do nothing at all?
I think you're spot on. I think we have to give some guidance to the town.
Yeah.
And as a minimum, I mean, even if, whether we're up or down, we have to give the guidance, and I think I think the town's looking for direction right now. I agree with you.
Yeah.
I see some different things. I saw movie night, I was surprised to see up on the school, sign up there, you know, they're having a movie night, the kids are going to school full-time in Dunbarton. So there are some things that are getting back to somewhat normal, in town here, although everybody's trying to be careful, but I'd like to hear from both the selectmen and the public here and make sure that,
Yep.
you know, we go about it the proper way. There was some, you know, low-impact Halloween schedules, some medium, and then some high, and I was kind of looking at the middle of the road one when I was looking at them. But we'll kind of discuss that, and we'll go back and forth and see, but, you know, not much has really changed. Our state's fairly low right now, but since we didn't have the Dunbarton Old Home Day, not much has really changed since then. I don't really wanna ruin it, cause we're having good, you know, knock on wood, we're doing good, but I guess we'll wait to see what everybody says, and we'll make some discussion. Go ahead.
I guess I have one question, as you mentioned about, you know, I think you said that people would come and set tables up and stuff.
Yeah.
So what happens is, are you gonna have people monitoring to make sure
Drink coffee.
to make sure that they're
We would
abiding
have-
by them?
yeah.
Or are you just gonna let them do whatever and tell them these are the
Somebody would have
rules?
to be designated to go around
but
and
Make sure that things
Yeah.
are being done, yeah. that
have
makes
people
sense.
follow the rules. And if you went to the movie night, which
Yeah.
Dawn and I helped them set that up, and it was a lot of fun. We had a great projector screen, didn't we? Big white
Where was
block.
that done in the,
It was on the baseball field, soccer field.
oh, okay.
We took a big white box truck, and we had just a regular projector, and we set it up, and it projected on the truck just perfectly.
Oh, wow.
We set up the speakers that we use, you know, Old Home Day and stuff, and it was what was it, Scooby-Doo
Scooby-Doo,
something?
the newest one.
The newest one.
Oh,
And they had a lot of music in it, and the kids were all there, and they were sitting in the back of pickups, and they were sitting.
Are
And what
those
they
the
did is-
speakers that are in the storage on the second floor of the town?
Now, these are our own speakers.
Okay, there are speakers you guys know up there, right?
I-
Anybody know who those are?
I wonder if they're the ones we use, that Dan Troy would pull out for meetings.
Oh, nobody seemed to know whose they were up there, so I'll have to figure
So
that out.
what they did that night was, they did every other parking space. So they lined off like 10 feet for its parking space, and then parked every other one, so that the vehicles were 10 feet apart. And pretty much everybody sat in chairs, we did, we parked on the side, we've put chairs in front of the vehicle, and, they brought their own snacks and stuff, so there was like no contact from the parties, everybody was 10 feet apart. Unbelievable weather, I mean, how often do you get weather like that in, late September where it's 70 degrees, a slight breeze, no rain, it's just like, this is just not happening, if the weather's this good. And that's always a factor with Halloween. We've had
So if
2
you
feet
did
of
a
snow,
table
we've
up
had
there-
75 degrees.
So if you guys did a table up here, somebody'd man it and put the
Yeah.
stuff out, take it, wash it and all that.
Yeah,
But I guess my question is, if people, everybody's setting tables up, you're not manning every table, people are.
no, we would man every table,
So my
everybody
po-
would have their
So my
own
point is,
table.
would you have someone going around to make sure everybody's,
Yeah,
okay, that's my question.
yeah, and that would be, part of the recommendations if the selectmen said, yeah, we want it done this way, and we want somebody designated to go around and monitor it.
See, my old thinking was if we did do it, we were gonna open up the town. And the garden club was just gonna have a table in the common is all I thought, not everybody else having one.
Right, well, that's what we usually do.
That was how I was thinking
Yeah.
before I got here, but
People donate their candy though, because they know that they don't have a lot of traffic in the communities that they live on, the roads that they.
Yeah, the other part of it is, that we suggested, and I say we, my wife suggested, she comes up with the good ideas, I take as much credit for them as I can. Last year we moved it up a little bit earlier. The
myself,
little
5 to
kids,
7.
are the ones that really enjoy Halloween. And trick or treating used to start at dark. But we started down here last year, I think it was at 4 o'clock.
4:30.
It
We
might
were
have
set
been-
up by
Yeah, we
4.
were set up by 4, but technically it started, I think, around 5. We went 5 to 7 instead of like 5 to 8.
Yeah.
At 7 o'clock, everybody's gone anyway. So if we went, even say 4:30 to 7 or 4:30 to 6:30, it's still daylight, just barely at the time we close. The little kids all come early. If the teenagers wanna come out later and we're gone, well, that's.
It's a
that's-
Saturday, so that'll make it easier for the parents to be with them early.
Yeah, it's not a school night, so they can get out there. So there's an advantage to starting a little bit earlier with the COVID situation too, because it's light, you can monitor things better, you can see things better. We can post some signs, about keep social distancing, some rules on how you're supposed to do things. And,
Excuse me.
yeah,
That's all well and good. You're talking about little kids. I brought my great-granddaughter last year. There's kids running every which way. Parents don't even have control over them. A lot of kids aren't gonna keep a mask on, because they're gonna want the mask they got with their, their Halloween costume.
yeah,
And I don't know if you can practice social distancing. I'll add another is, the school has had that thought because, one of the committees that met this week, we're talking about what they do in the month of December. And they're doing that from at home now and instead of in the school, so they don't have contact with the kids. So kids are kids. We know how to social distance. And we have parents that don't know how to social distance as well as their kids. So I have a real concern because, as you said, we have a low rate of COVID-19 spread. And the whole thing is, it doesn't take a whole lot, and we don't know who's from town and who isn't from town. And last year when we walked around, mothers were talking to another mother saying, this is what's nice about living in this town, you guys ought to look at property here. So we're getting them from other towns too. So I think it's gonna be difficult to try to control where people are standing, what people are doing, well, not people as much as kids. Kids are gonna be kids, you know, and so that's my concern, and to me, that puts other residents at risk when we do it that way.
What I'd like to say is that the movie, we did a partnership with the PTO. And they've got a new president, Jessica Baker Conwell. And she's into working with us on Halloween. And we were doing, talking about having the candy stations at the school, there. And,
In the building?
yeah, Halloween night, but make it more for, Dunbarton School and children and stuff like that. Overflow could go up to the, the commons, we could have ours at the commons, spread it out a little bit, but once again, they would be spread out in the parking lot, every other car.
But evidently you forgot what it's like being a kid. I haven't. So I'll say that much. And I gotta tell you, kids are kids.
Yeah.
And so no matter where you put them, and it's a noble idea. We don't have a rec committee, so you guys are stepping up and doing stuff. And I applaud you for that. But I don't think this is the right environment myself to have that. Now, you're looking at towns that are isolating the collection of candy to their own little neighborhood. Amherst is doing that, where everybody knows what neighborhood, but they've got no guarantee as to where other people are gonna come from if they're not doing it in their town.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, I don't think it's a good time at this time, if we don't have anything to prevent anything until we find some kind of a immunization or whatever, I don't think I just don't think it's a good idea at this time.
Well, I did a survey on, Facebook, the Dunbarton page. We got 136 comments and 50 likes there. And there's a lot of pages there, but most of the people want to do something for the kids. They, want it to be safe. And if we do it in conjunction with the school, that way they can put out the guidelines plenty time in advance to make it be a safe deal. We did it with the movie. We had, 21 cars?
You have around 25
Yeah,
cars.
25 cars there, lots of kids. They kept them away from the playground, they stayed basically in their own area, and they did, the parents did a good job of controlling it.
Right, because you had enough people to control it, and again, this isn't the same situation as that is. Don, you're looking at where kids make gingerbread houses now, they're gonna do them at home instead of in the school, so they're not clustered together. So that tells you that they wanna practice separation and distancing, so they're doing them at their home. So this is even more magnified than that is, because kids are gonna run where they wanna go.
And the thing is, the movie is almost like a drive-in theater, which was really commendable, but the thing is, you're sitting in a car. You're not running around with a mask on trying to scare your friends and trying to grab candy from another table and trying to get, what's over there, Hershey bars, I'm gonna run over there and get the Hershey bars.
Why wouldn't you promote like if you have a couple of families living near each other, they could take their kids out and do stuff together,
Yeah, that's
Maybe
an option,
promote
is
something like
to
that.
do nothing on the commons and just keep it in the neighborhoods.
promote the kids, that, the people that know each other can be together, they can, deal with that. I mean, unfortunately, this, like my brother said, this is where we are, unfortunately,
Tom,
nobody asked for this,
I don't wanna cancel, canceling is just, I
No, but
think
there's way-
unfair, but
there's
I
a-
like the idea of, keeping it local neighborhoods. And the problem with the, town center here, it's gonna be opened up to the entire state. They're gonna, towns that don't have anything, they're gonna migrate somewhere. Oh, Dunbarton's a nice rural area, we'll come here. Bedford, I was just looking at Bedford, I think, I'm gonna say it, I think Bedford is done. In the sense that their COVID rate is much higher than, is like on a red spot in the state, it's high, and they're opening up wide open. And I have to applaud the residents of this town. I mean, we practice social distancing, we wear masks, the election was done, safely. I wanna keep that record going.
I guess you're trying to protect every citizen.
Right. And the thing is, the beauty of having the neighborhoods, if you don't, it follows the same old tradition. If you don't wanna participate, you turn your lights off. You wanna participate, you turn your lights on and put a decoration up. And that alerts the neighborhood that, hey, I'm gonna get a candy here or not, a treat here, and then, oh, they're not even home because all the lights are off. And so I like the idea of, that doesn't force anyone into a situation where they're in crowds, you got kids that running unruly. I really like the idea of just keeping it in the neighborhoods this year.
They can run around in the neighborhood.
Oh, absolutely.
Everybody knows each other, you know, you can trust, if the people you trust, you know?
Totally agree. Dave, you wanna chime in?
I guess so. I read quite a few of the comments, and there's some interesting ones. You have quite a few older people here in the common area here that, may or may not wanna have 300 some odd kids at their doorstep.
Yeah.
If we do anything to advertise it, I would like to be that it's a town event. You know, and I'd like to simply state that it's a town event if we do something, because as Bob said,
Yeah, but that doesn't keep people from
It
out
doesn't
of
keep-
town from coming
it
in.
doesn't keep 100% of them,
No.
Bob, but it won't hurt if
Well-
we did that either.
You know, I'm looking at this picture right here, that's an orderly fashion, but it does get disorderly. When they're not in line, they're running around.
That's the
and,
parade,
you know,
you know that, right?
Well,
That's
either
what the
one,
parade is.
either one. I've seen them all over in the front, cause we watched the movie last year, we stayed long enough to watch what they were showing on the, you know, it was hard to see. You know, my great granddaughter likes the nighttime,
Yeah.
the lights and stuff, so.
So, you
My
know, I
wife
think, a
received
bit
an
like Mike
email
said, I think we
from
could have
Owen.
something limited.
And I think they're canceling the Halloween parade at the school this year.
Yeah,
And he was waiting to see what the garden club was going to do,
Is that all
And-
you're talking about?
you know, what the selectman was gonna recommend and stuff like this, so, everybody's waiting for somebody else to do something. And, we have no problem in downsizing this year, because, you know, it takes a lot of work and that. We've got people who will help set up, but we've got people that say they won't hand out kits because the age of the garden club is,
High
in
risk.
the vulnerable area.
As well as some of the people who live across the way.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, no, Ann Zeller had made a good point that just about everybody on School Street here are in their eighties
right.
and that, so we understand that, and we talked about doing some type of sign, you know, to put in their yard.
Right, and Mike also did say, don't turn your lights on, you know, with that one evening, and people generally will get the hint too.
But that's why I'm saying that I don't think I can support a common activity in the commons. I really like just keep Halloween open to the neighborhoods, if you wanna trick or treat in the neighborhood, so be it, do it. I think, I saw it,
This common is a neighborhood though.
but this is a neighborhood, but the thing is, by not having organized activity, we're gonna encourage crowds to attend. I think, Goffstown put out a letter like this.
Yeah.
I think we should do that, so keep the citizens informed. Again, Lean, if you got a copy of that, I'd love to, we can lift a few things which make sense off here and put it in our letter and just tailor it to Dunbarton.
Yeah, they're little kids, they just wanna have a good evening, they don't
Right.
care they don't care where it is.
And they're not gonna read signs on someone's neighborhood.
But they don't care where it is, if you
Right.
give them a good time in the neighborhood, they'll be happy with that, you know?
And I look forward to next year when we all have immunizations or it's gone.
Yeah.
So
Hopefully-
this is also the, you know, you're talking the town common here, but if the school decides to do something, you know, with the garden club and you guys are over there, that, you know, cause they were talking about set up at the school, we don't control that parking lot.
Well,
It's the town.
Yeah, I think, you know, our position is whatever the flavor of the town is,
Right,
what's, you know, the best guidance, we just go along with the program.
what do we got here until Halloween, we're just in the first, we're on the first,
Yeah, October first.
Well, the thing is, I think parents need to know ahead of time. I think to wait till the week before is kinda dumb.
No, I'm just thinking for our, yeah, 'cause the 15th is our next meeting.
Yeah, I think a
That's
decision
too
should be
late.
made tonight.
Yeah,
I mean, I think parents should have an idea what they wanna do for their children. And the thing is that I don't wanna shortchange any child the joy of
so
Halloween.
Mike, tell me what you're suggesting.
I'm suggesting that Halloween is conducted in in your neighborhood. And it's done from house to house traditionally, no organized activities on the common or the school grounds.
Well, for one, I won't speak to the school grounds only because we don't control that.
Right.
As far as neighborhoods, you know, this still isn't Bedford, I know, you know, we have a lot of little, like, we have your neighborhood, we have Flintlock Farms. There are some neighborhoods, Old Fort, but a lot of people still live on a main road where there's not a neighborhood community circle, you know, there's.
Correct. But the thing is, I've been in neighborhoods where I've seen, you know, car drops off, kids get out. The kids out of the houses, get in the car, go to Overlook.
Well,
Right.
see, I'd make a different decision than you would. I would leave it up to the residents I don't care if they do trick or treating in town, and if they don't wanna participate, and that's what we'd have to let them know.
Right, it's a
Put your
choice.
lights out if you don't
Which is
want.
what Goffstown kinda did, it
Right,
looks like, right?
and just put your lights out if you don't want trick or treaters, if you do, but I don't think we should sponsor an event where there's a cluster of a lot of kids running around and we don't know who could be, you know, contagious or not contagious. There might be no one that's contagious, but that's the roll of the dice.
I myself like Goffstown's letter as well, they're having trick or treat, they're giving you some of the things for motorists to do, the students to do, or the kids to do, and for the parents as well. Do you guys have this list?
Yeah,
Goffstown.
I have a copy of it.
Okay, it gives a good breakdown and it still allows Halloween to happen within the town.
Right, they could still have it within the town, and if the school wants to do something, they have control of their own students. And if they decide they wanna do something with the garden club, that's a whole different picture, but, you know, I can't consent to having it here on the green and having a cluster of people running around, or especially little kids running around. And you're gonna have parents too, if they don't wanna wear a mask to vote, they're not gonna wear a mask to get in line, so. And so, are you gonna stand there and argue with them?
My only thought is if the garden club had one table, if we don't have 15, 20 tables out there, if the garden club had one table,
Well, the thing is,
that
at
wouldn't work.
the same time, they could have it at their own homes.
That's,
They put the lights on and have it at their own homes.
Charles, right?
Yeah, well, I think that the point David made about there's not a lot of neighborhoods, you know, in Dunbarton, so that people who live on a main road or something would have to go to one of the other neighborhoods.
Yeah, we do.
So,
We grew
that-
up that way.
yeah, I mean, that's
Yeah, I know it's not like
that's
that
the only
before.
difference.
Like if I had done Halloween when I was a kid, there was only a few houses and, you know, 6 miles, so,
Dave, ask Bob, we did it, and you know where we grew up.
yeah.
There weren't any houses there.
They haven't developed yet.
That's why we did
You
it.
had to go to some place where there were more houses or you'd get no candy pretty much.
We did our neighborhood,
Yeah,
we really did, we did the whole big, huge neighborhood, that's all, you know?
Well, I think, you know, I live in Flintlock Farms and we're getting to know the people there, but there's a lot of people we don't know, there's 35 houses. And, to go around it, you're looking at 3.5 miles. And that, going around, and the distance between the houses, you know, that's the reason we don't have cable TV.
Boy,
You
the
know,
parents
because
would
of
love
the
that.
distance.
Parents in your neighborhood, the kids are exhausted, they take them home and they go right to bed.
Yeah,
That's right.
but see,
Right
Goffstown,
after the sugar
why,
wears
you
off.
got houses, you know, it's a
Right.
metropolitan area, and yes, you can go house to house there, but,
But
Hey,
that's a
Dawn?
decision each parent can make.
Don,
Yeah,
What we don't
Dawn.
wanna do is,
oh, sorry,
correct,
my kids did that, we went, house to house years ago, there were no neighborhoods. There were no neighborhoods.
Don, what I wanna avoid, and I concur with Bob, we gotta avoid sanctioning a crowd occurring and running amok. And that's what I wanna avoid. It's not that I wanna cancel, I just wanna stop the community activity up here where you're gonna gather a crowd.
well, I think, the solution is to work with the school, have it down there, that way, because we want, those are the kids, I mean, I mean,
Well,
we got
in the
homeschoolers.
school, I would
But
do,
they'll be included on all the bulletins and that, but that way we keep it really local.
But if you go, have it just through the school, I'd have it during school hours, and let them dress up during the school hours, but nothing in the evening. Because basically what you're telling me is, if we say no to you, you're gonna go like this to the selectmen and run to the school. That is wrong.
Well, I don't have a, you know, deciding on where you wanna go, I don't have a difference other than, I don't think we should be sponsoring anything here or having anything on the green. If the school wants to do something, it's their kids, and there'll probably be more monitoring there and control there than there would be in the wide open, number one. And I don't wanna deny the people in Dunbarton an opportunity if they wanna take their kids. So I don't wanna say to the town can't have it, but I know that as an officer of the town, and, that I don't want congregation on town property where kids or somebody could get something that they didn't wanna have to begin with. It's enough to trick or treat without getting tricked, you know?
And if you did something down the school, most likely it would be the school kids that go there, not other
Yeah.
towns, so.
I concur with that.
But I don't think I'd go as far as, you know, they have a school board, and they've got a principal, and I think that those guys can make that decision.
Yeah, we wouldn't promote doing anything down there, if they do it, they'd be doing it on.
I don't have any problem if you
I
guys
think
wanna
you'd
set
have
up
more
something down
control.
there.
To be honest with
Right,
you.
I mean, you're gonna have kids lining up, I mean, they keep a tight ship there, as far as keeping kids in line and in control.
Yeah.
And, not running amok.
Again, I think you guys, it's a good thing that you do these things for the kids. It's an unfortunate time when we're trying to plan something and we wanna make sure no one gets ill.
Yeah, no, I like your point, kids are kids. And, you know, we can get most of the parents to follow the guidelines, but not all of them. And the kids, especially, I mean, it's Halloween, they're gonna eat some of that candy, they're gonna be a little more hyped up than usual. They wanna run around, they wanna play with their friends and other kids, and saying that you can maintain control over a bunch of little kids is just not gonna happen.
Especially if you got a bunch of little boys.
In Dunbar, right now, we have no cases in Dunbar,
Right,
but that's not counting in our surrounding communities.
Right.
And the thing is, the town center, when you have a whole activity like that, candy all concentrated in one spot, it's a target.
yep.
Can I just make a comment,
Go ahead.
please? This one that was handed to us,
What's your
with the
name?
spider on the front, Lee Moe, town administrator.
Okay.
On the second page, it says, recently CDC issued some helpful Halloween guides. If you go halfway down, it says, higher risk activities include traditional door-to-door trick-or-treating or other events that people interact at close distances. So I don't know if there's a perfect answer. This letter that you're recommending that we put together for the public, it's gonna have to be worded in a way that
It may
Well, I
be-
think,
trick
I
with
think
their
if we,
own-
I like what Mike said, if we look at this letter here, it gives, to reduce the risk of COVID-19 spread. You know, stay at home if you're not feeling well, if anybody has the symptoms, wear your mask, cover your mouth and nose.
Yeah.
I mean, I think if we take this page, probably pull out the sidewalks, there's not many sidewalks in
Yeah,
town.
we don't,
Um, And just do a news release that people know that we are gonna have Halloween in town. Whether it be door to door, and we'll let these people go to the school and see what the school board has to say about. And what I would do is, I wouldn't try and overthink it and have a whole bunch of tables there. If the garden club wants to have a table there, it's just like going to one other house. Okay, so that you can feel some involvement of doing something there, not have a huge amount of, you know, maybe the PTO has one, the garden club has another, or something.
Yeah,
to
I
that
mean,
effect.
if they invited us, said we wanna do this, we'd like you guys to help, we would be glad to help.
So it's kinda like one more stop as they're coming through that community ride or whatever, you know?
But in the past, they've had those Halloween parades,
Mm-hmm.
which I'm sure they're gonna put a non-stop.
Yeah, I think Lean said they said they were gonna
he
cancel
said he
it.
was waiting to hear what the board had to say
Oh, okay.
before they were
Yeah.
going to decide on the parade.
But, again, I would not recommend that, that's not recommended at all in Indian communities. But having a table within the school, if candy's gonna go to Dunbarton children, I can't see anything wrong with that.
Well, that parade would probably be on Friday afternoon. because that's the last day of school, so that's when they would have it, probably right around noon or 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
You know, the kids
So
don't come out and they
it
march
wouldn't
around
be
the
on
right back, you know.
Halloween, it'd be
If
on
they
the
social
30th.
distance on the parade, I don't have a problem with doing the parade. Put the kids in proper space apart, let them march around, go back to the school.
Yeah, just
What's
need-
that to hurt? They're already in the school anyway.
Between
Yeah.
each one,
That's
so
right.
that they stay tight.
They're already in the school all together anyway, they're
Yeah.
eating lunch there every day,
I mean, one of the biggest things for the kids is not so much getting the candy, it's the costumes.
Right,
And showing their friends the costumes,
Yeah.
so if
Yeah.
they could pull off the
Interactive.
parade, then all the kids get to see each other's costumes.
Yeah.
We went, I think it was last year, it rained, and they had it indoors. Boy, that was a tight fit. That was really tough to do inside. So even if they planned a parade, you know, you gotta make sure, okay, well, if it's gonna rain, then the parade's gonna be canceled. I guess we have like a 25, right now we have about a 99% chance of it not raining. Subject to change if the weather ever changes.
But again, that's more control because it's not all age groups, it's confined to the group that's
Yep.
going to that school.
All right.
And
And-
just,
and the
just
ones who
our
really enjoy
in-town
it.
kids.
And the ones who enjoy it the most.
Yeah,
Okay, so let's bring this back, Lean, do you think you can do a revision of this letter for
Okay,
Dunbarton?
so for starters, we're just gonna announce that the board has decided not to conduct or hold any type of common gathering for the Halloween.
I think we're gonna announce it just like this.
And the
Trick or
time,
treat,
the time,
I think 5 to 7, like he said, or 4:30 to 6:30, one of the two.
Oh. If the school's holding it, wouldn't you think they'd know sometime?
No, this is Saturday, this is, the
Oh,
school is
It's
ordered
just
on Friday.
regular Halloween, going house to house like you
For
did when
house
you were
to
a
house.
kid.
I get it.
Just using the COVID rules
Yeah,
to do
yeah,
it.
yeah, okay, I'm sorry.
so 5 to 7,
Let's leave it, I think 5 to 7 looks good, like you said, I think the quicker you get the kids back, you know, before it gets dark, the better off, and
yeah, and it's a Saturday, so they can sleep a little bit later and,
You get to see the TP's your
and
house
then
too.
just drop
That's
right
right.
down to reduce the risk of.
We all get
COVID-19.
video
pull the sidewalks on there, Lean.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's the first 2 sections, pretty much. I
Yeah,
mean, I can,
pull the sidewalks, and the rest I think is all, you know, the motorists and the trick or treat, and then,
okay,
I think, we'll let the school announce anything else that's gonna go on at
Anything they
that
wanna do,
function,
yeah.
when you guys do
I've been
that.
working with
And
them.
Lean, just for help staffing it, I would ask the police chief if he wants to add any value added here. He sometimes,
before we post it, yeah,
before you post it.
Yeah,
okay.
and,
sounds good.
down at the bottom, you might see, there will be no events on our town common this year, but leave everything else out.
You know, you hate to be a wet blanket, but you know, it is what it is
no,
right now.
you've gotta do what's safest
You know,
for everybody. The only thing, other thing I would like, if you could add it, would be to give them some idea of how to distribute the candy safely. You know, don't wait, come up and the kids and have a bowl. You
Oh,
know, you might put in there,
yeah.
put your candy outside on a table.
Yeah, maybe,
You know,
I
some
think
people
we've
could,
got some in here, in this one that talks about,
NHMA has it.
Put it on your fishing line.
packaging, the candy and
On
squeezing
page
it.
3 of the NHMA. It says encourage candy distribution to occur outside the home rather than in doorways.
Makes sense.
Increases distance, monitor where can be spread out on tables and chairs so trick-or-treaters can take a piece with
Yeah.
sanitation occurring in the area.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
in the
if you
middle,
had those sentences, that would look good.
Yep, okay,
Okay, I think we're happy with that, we're still gonna have Halloween, we'll follow the guidelines that are in front of us here.
Dave, I thought you wanted to be the Grinch this time.
Well, I let Bob do it. But I thank you guys for, like Bob said, your continued commitment to, you know,
Community.
kind of take over the recreation portion of this stuff in the town, and I know, you know, we hate to be the ones up here saying no, no, no to these events, but sooner or later, we are gonna hopefully be
Yeah.
able to say yes,
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 yes.
and back you guys and give you some help, cause I know that volunteering the way you guys do, it's a ton of work, and it's a ton of backup work, it's a ton of cleanup work, and until you do those events, you don't realize how much it is, so hats off to you guys for doing
yeah,
that.
thank you. No, we've got a great organization and a great membership and many hands makes for light work.
Right,
Yeah.
You know, when we do a cleanup or something, we have 25, 30 people show up and, you know, in an hour, 2 hours, you've done what would take 4 people a week to do. So it's a lot of fun when you get that many people contributing.
okay, well,
Alright.
thank you guys,
Thank
and,
you.
good luck over at the school, and like I said, you know, I think, if you guys just have a few tables over there, and it's not a huge deal, I don't think there's gonna be an issue there either.
Yeah.
But I would see what they're doing on, during the Friday, once they have if they're gonna have the parade.
Yeah.
But, I think school teachers can have those children under their thumb and have good control, as Bob said.
Yeah.
Rather than on a Saturday
Better than the
night.
parents.
What would
Yeah, well,
think
you
of-
know, if you raise children, you know, just they do what they wanna do, you know, I mean, it's
Yeah.
just.
What would you think if we had the different town departments, have a table? In
No.
other words, transfer station.
Not at all, not at all. There's nothing, no, they're parents too, they're gonna have to man their own homes, they're gonna have to take their own kids around, I'd rather leave it with the parents.
Wait for another year for that idea.
Besides, can you imagine what the train station would bring? Here's a aluminum can for you, and a aluminum can for you.
Didn't we throw that away?
All right, I'm gonna go to mailbox items next. Okay,
I've got another thing on here for the cemetery.
Done.
we have a notice in here from Central New Hampshire Regional Planning about studies and upcoming ideas that we would like to have done. And I couldn't think of anything other than the one we're working on currently for the Page's Corner intersection roundabout or whatnot, whatever goes on there. And I think we've kind of crested this at our prior meeting, and Lean and I have talked, so I don't think there's anything that the selectmen would wanna put forward in this at this point.
Well, there's a lot of people, some people have said they'd love to have a bicycle trail along 13, but the thing is, that's taking a lot of people's property away.
Right.
I don't think that would float at all.
But, Dave, is that just for 13 or 77, or is that?
Entire town.
Anything we wanted,
What
to
about the,
put on a 10-year plan.
you have a lot of, we have a lot of, guardrails on Everett Road and on Stark Lane that are gone. They're just actually an accident they're waiting to happen.
Is it any state road, or is it?
The state's maintains
Yes, they are.
road.
Yeah,
These are transportation improvements, like I think road designs is what I think they're thinking.
Okay,
of.
all right, okay,
I don't think it's so much maintenance, but
okay. Well,
It's actually more geared to, do you wanna invest in software, do you want an
Okay.
asset manager, do you
Oh,
want,
yeah,
you
okay.
know. the-
maybe even adding a bike trail, like Mike said, something to be, you know,
Yeah, okay.
10-year planning down the road type items.
But Dave alluded to the biggest thing we have, is the, making the Page's Corner safer.
Yeah, right, yeah,
Which is in the process as
Yeah.
right now.
right.
Okay, then, oh, I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, by the way, I call every spring the DOT and to let them know that my road has no guardrail. They can
Yeah.
come and look near my house,
Yep.
cause that's one heck of a travel down into the woods, it's probably 40 feet down when they go off the road.
Mhm.
And every year they say, yeah, we're gonna get around to it, and they don't, because
My-
they haven't. I thought they were gonna do it when they paved it last year, cause that's, they came out, they had a company come out, but they didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wonder if it'd be worthwhile, just to, as a road agent, just to, if the road agent would speak on behalf of Dunbar residents to the state. Well, if that would have any more power.
Yes, we
Good
do.
try it. Well, I'll talk to, actually, I'm gonna talk to Jeff about another
Thanks, John.
issue, so I probably will
Yeah.
do that, but I bet, it's like the stop sign that was missing on Mansion and Everett Dam Road. It
Dangerous.
took them a little while, but they put one back up.
Yeah, to get guardrails fixed, it's the squeaky wheel, I can give you a phone number to call.
Oh, no, but it's not my point. My point is, I drive the roads, but these people drive them all the time to go home. And on Stark Lane, that's terrible, and on Everett Road, that's terrible.
Yeah.
Not, every time I drive by there, I'm looking, it's like, the brush has grown right through it to the road. You can't really see the guardrails, cause they're broken, all the posts are broken. You know, it doesn't make sense.
Wow.
It's just an accident, somebody gets into that, that's really bad, you know?
Okay, moving on. Items in the mailbox. The Town Hall Restoration Committee meeting gave us a copy of their meeting minutes for August 26th. And just to let you know, The next thing on the agenda, through Zoom, Bob and I were both, on the Zoom meeting, even though I couldn't speak for a portion of time. And Bob was on it by phone. We're gonna make a public notice here that, Bob and I often throughout the year hit that same meeting to try and keep up to date with what's going on with that, so. We're making a notice to the public that there may be a quorum of the Board of Selectmen at that meeting at various times throughout the year, just so we're legally posted properly.
I'd like to put a point of order on this.
Go ahead.
I'd like to make sure that, the selectmen go on record tonight saying that there will be no decisions made at that meeting regarding town business, by the two selectmen which represent a quorum. Any decisions to be made should be brought back to this forum.
Yep,
Yeah,
that's correct.
That's correct, 'cause we're only getting the input from them as to what they wanna do,
Okay.
we're not,
But sometimes you're gonna get two selectmen, you can make a decision off the cuff, and then I'm this included, and I don't think that's right.
Yeah, no,
Okay,
and I'm in agreement with that, by the way,
Okay.
Mike.
thank you.
So that's there, just to bring us up to date on that, they did get some new drawings back and some pricing on the drawings. Although there was a bunch of discussion on the pricing, because when you look at the entire envelope of the building, there's a lot of things in there that the architect has to decide whether he's gonna put it through a bonded bid or everything else, so they kinda throw all the numbers in there to give you the worst case scenario. Over the next month, some of that's gonna be stripped down to get an actual closer raw cost on the building, so. They did get kind of the worst case scenario pricing going on that, and now they're gonna work that out.
Did they talk about potential timing for when they might wanna bring it before the voters?
There was some talk about that, and there was some talk about this year not being a good year because they can't meet with people at town voting, they can't have any of these public interactions we normally do. So they're not certain yet, but it's not looking like this year is gonna be as good a year as we had hoped.
I would concur with that, thank you.
So that still hasn't been decided, there's gonna be some discussion over the next couple of meetings, but I guess we'll bring it back to the board when we hear what they decide. But they did have some discussion, went back and forth, but
No decisions.
no decisions yet. We have an update from the planning, building and zoning. Donna and Michael Cummings have sent us a list. There's currently 9 new homes under construction in Dunbarton. 2 certificates of ADUs, have gone out. And, there's 2 other permits for large garages, and or barns that have gone out currently. So there's a lot of work going on in the building department. And, there's one thing on here that Mike Cummings keeps bringing up, which is our building and health officer, about the roof, concern on the slate roof over here and the snow sliding off it. So we'd already talked about putting proper signage out there, but we might wanna put a little fence barrier to keep people back just enough so that when it does fall off, it's not hitting them. So I think when it gets closer to the winter months, we should look at that as a board,
Like an
Do the same thing they do.
orange
Orange
snow
thing.
fence or
do the
something.
same thing they do at Dartmouth College, they just put a sign up telling people to be,
Yeah.
you know, cause they
Which
have
we
the
did
same
do.
thing.
We did do last year, but
We do put a snow fence and attach it to the handicap rail,
Still
but I
there,
don't know that it's enough.
still there.
Oh, it is, they never do
Yeah,
that?
it's still there.
okay. So we will, as we get closer, we will work on that.
It's ahead, they're ahead this year, they're all set.
Library repairs, Lean, did we call and give this blistering paint to,
Not yet, I have, bring it before the board.
okay,
Yeah,
it's a small amount of repair, but I think if we keep them up to date with
yeah,
these,
it's better than waiting till there's a whole
Agreed.
lot that he can't get at, and
and these are on this back entrance, which may be torn off, but at the same time, I think, if he'd rather come back and do this small repair.
So I'll
Yes, we
contact
know.
John Tuttle.
yeah, that's under that 11-year guarantee, so.
And it's
Or-
only a little bit of bubbling paint right down at the grade where it hits the cement, it's not a huge issue.
Okay,
So, the board's consensus is to bring it to Dawn.
okay, I'm good with that.
There was a great write-up that Lean had put in our mailbox from Creston Construction, which shows the, repair, of the town hall structural renovations. There's a write-up in here. and I'm not sure if you guys both got a chance to read it, but this will be in our mailbox.
Oh, okay.
I asked Lean to get that, I think we might wanna put some sort of blow-up of this on our
already
town
copied it for
report.
I did copy it for my budget and town report.
So, it was a great write-up, and it's part of their newsletter that goes out, and, we'll have it up here if anybody would like to read it.
So they were taking some bragging rights.
They were, they've got their other jobs in there, we were one of their jobs, and I gotta say, this company did a great job for us there.
Good.
Yeah, yeah. It was a nice write-up too.
Oh. And Lean gave us one other thing, I think the last thing in here. It looks like she was looking for, some Google Pay gift cards for my nephew. She got a bogus email that was supposedly started from me, which was not in caps, which I always do. And, looking for some bogus Google gift cards, so she immediately sent it out to us, and also sent it to Chris Remillard, which forwarded to the, Internet Crimes Complaint Center. So, that was a good thing to get taken care of. And I've asked her if that comes across, not to email it out to us.
Do a
We
snapshot.
don't know,
if you-
yeah.
But Chris does handle those kind of complaints very well, with Remillard.
Okay, and then the last thing under the mailbox items is, Lean received some funding from the state of New Hampshire municipal aid. And it's over $10,000, so we have to have a public hearing on it, so we're gonna slate that for, what was it, the
October-
15th?
October 15th.
October 15th meeting. I think it was in the form of $20,000, is
Just
that
over.
right?
Yeah, just over.
So it was nice to see that unanticipated money come in and the revenues.
I'd like to
And,
put a caveat on that.
Yep,
I'd like to know exactly why we're receiving that money. There was no indication on there as why we're receiving it, what's it's from, what's it's for, are there restrictions how we spend it? So I'd say even before we receive it and put it in our bank account,
Yep.
I'd like to know some more facts.
Yeah, I've already made 2 phone calls, well, 1 email which forwarded me to the Department of Revenue. It came from their department, and, when I spoke to our representative, Michelle Clark, she picked up the phone and called me and said, Lean, you're the first call, and we have no idea what this money is, and we have not gotten a list of which towns received any of those monies, so when and if we get that information, and you guys accept those funds, typically if you accept them, you can either apply them to this year's calendar revenue income, or you can say, we're doing it a public hearing, but we're gonna, forego that actual reporting of the money, cause flood control, for example, if we budget 70,000, it comes in at 75, we have to use the 75,000 on our calculations to set the tax rate. So this will be another one of those items where when you accept it, they will normally put it in our revenue calculation, which would reduce our tax rate slightly. But if you guys decide not to do that between now and then, and we happen to be setting the tax rate, then you would just include it with your, projected revenues for next year's
Next year.
budget.
I'd like to know just
Oh, yeah,
who, what, and where.
yeah, that's what we're working on.
Besides,
It was a nice surprise, and I hope it's all good.
I wish I could get some of those checks in the mail like that.
yeah, the exact amount was $20,810.27.
You forgot the why. Who, what, when, where, and why.
Why?
Whenever you did something, you had to write that on the back for IRS.
Yeah.
Who, what, when, where, and why.
You know, I'm a Republican, I'm just glad to get the money. That being said, I think that's it on our agenda. Do I have a motion?
No, I have something to say for the
Oh,
board.
you do?
You do?
Yeah, you're supposed to.
Oh, let's
around
bring
the
it back to the
table.
town administrator first.
I'm busy, training with, our new, payroll and accounting secretary. It's
Yeah.
going well, she's, reassured me that there's in the very near future, she hopes to be available for hours during the day, so I'm looking forward to that. Currently, she's working Sundays with me and Monday nights, so it's getting a little tiresome, but we're getting through it. It's picked up very
Okay.
quickly.
And Leo, I didn't do an ending public comment, so I'll give you a chance, okay? Good, bring it back to the board.
Okay, I would like to publicly thank Dan and Judy Van Kolken for extending their placement of sod in front of the town pound. I think it looks great. What they did is they cleaned up their yard and resodded the front of their yard between the rock wall and the street. And they extended it to in front of the town pound. It looks great. So I'd like to say thank you to them. And Judy said her husband's gonna maintain that grass in front of it.
Oh, great.
So,
I did see that it has been brought down a little further,
Yeah, it looks good.
so I think kudos to them, thank you.
okay?
And I did go over to see if there's a footing underneath the front of the town hall, the old town hall. And I'm actually gonna do it again, cause there is a footing. I don't know what it is, I don't know if it's stone, I don't know if it's concrete, cause I brought a round shovel in a bar, and you checked it with the bar, you know?
Mhm.
But I really need to bring a canvas, pull that bark mulch back, and so I can dig down a little bit, and I wanna just see what that is under there.
Okay.
You know?
All right,
So-
Hey Bob, recommendation is take some pictures that may be worthwhile when we put it out to bid. Have pictures of what you're looking at.
Right, well, and I'm hoping that this Brett Sinclair, Hadley,
Yeah.
gets back to me, you know? But I think he's waiting to hear what I'm finding there, you know?
The pictures,
But he told me it would take a while, that he wouldn't be ready to do, if he was working on it, cause he's got the impression he's probably gonna be one of the few bidders. So, you know, he wouldn't be ready this year, and at least we'll have all the documentation we need to
right,
write out an RFP, you know?
yeah. That sounds good. I don't think I have anything further for the board.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, motion's been made. Do I have a second?
Yeah, I guess I could do that.
Okay. Adjourn the meeting.